All right, 9.1, we are diving into probability. So while this isn't the most complicated section, there is a lot of information. So let's jump in. We're going to calculate the probability of an event, compare the experimental and theoretical probability, determine if an event is dependent or independent, and then calculate that probability of those events. All right, so probability is just a measurement of how likely an event is to occur. And we use a number between 0 or 1 or a percent between 0 and 100. In order to figure out what probability is, we just take the number of favorable outcomes, meaning the things we want to happen, divided by the number of possible outcomes. So let's look at an example. A jar contains 30 red marbles, 50 blue marbles, 10 green marbles, and 20 white marbles. You pick one marble from the jar at random. Find each theoretical probability to the nearest percent. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is figure out how many marbles there are total. 30 plus 50 plus 10 plus 20 is 110, because we're going to need that to figure out our probability. So remember, it's number of favorable outcomes over possible outcomes. So if we're looking at red, there's 30 red marbles. So all I'm doing is 30 out of the total, which is 110. And that's 0.27 or 27%. Okay, probability of not white. So there's 20 white marbles. So if I can pick anything besides those 20, there are 90 options. Again, out of 110, 0.82 or 82%. And that 90 came from just 110 minus the 20. And then probability of red or blue. Red is 30, blue is 80. Red is 30, blue is 50, so that's 80 total. So 80 out of 110, which would be 0.73 or 73%. Okay, we're also going to look at experimental versus theoretical probability. So experimental is actually gathering data from observations, and we estimate that by using a simulation, right, which is just a model of the event. Theoretical probability is the likeliness of an event happening based on all the possible outcomes. So that is, in theory, the probability. We cannot predict the actual results, but the theoretical gives us an idea of what is likely to happen. And we look at the sample space, which is possible outcomes. As the amount of trials increase, the experimental probability gets closer to the theoretical. So, summary, theoretical is what it should be if everything was perfect. Experimental is what actually happens. All right, so let's look at a couple examples here of kind of the difference between the two. So a class tossed coins and recorded 161 heads and 179 tails. First, we're going to look at the theoretical probability of heads and of tails. So if I look at theoretically heads, I have either heads or tails options. So that's only two options, and that's 1 out of 2, which would be 0.5, or we could say 50%, right? Tails would be the same. 1 out of 2, 0.5. Okay, that would be the theoretical. But now when we look at experimental probability, we're going to look at what actually happened. So first we need to say 161 plus 179, that's 340. So if we're looking at the experimental probability of heads, I got heads 161 out of 340 times. And so that is 0.474. It says round to 3 decimal places. So in our experimental, it was a little bit off of the 0.5 that we anticipated it would be. Tails was 179 out of 340. So that would be 0.526. Again, a little bit off that 0.5 that we expected in the theoretical. To get these numbers, I'm literally just dividing 161 divided by 340. If I wanted to figure out the percentage, I just take that decimal times 100. Another example, let's look at experimental and theoretical probability. So a class rolled a die. We see the results in this table here. What's the theoretical probability of rolling a given number? And then what was the experimental probability of rolling each number? So let's look at theoretical first. Oops, can't spell. For each number, it's just 1 out of 6, right? Because I have a 1 in 6 chance of rolling any number on a die, okay? Which is 0.167 or 16.7%. All right, now when we look at experimental, we're going to look at what actually happened. So first, let's add the occurrences at the bottom here. So 42 plus 44 plus 45 plus 44 plus 47 plus 46, that's 268. So each of these are going to be out of 268. So the experimental of rolling a 1 would be 42 out of 268, which would be 15.7%. 2 would be 44 out of 268, so that would be 16.4%. 3 would be 45 out of 268, which is 16.8%. 4 would be same thing as 2, 44 out of 268. Again, divide those numbers, multiply by 100, you get 16.4%. 5 would be 47 out of 268, which is 17.5%. And then 6, I'll put over here because I'm running out of space. 46 out of 268. Oops. Would be 17.2%. So again, you can see that the experimental probabilities don't quite match the theoretical. Some of them come pretty close, but they're not exactly where they should be because any experiment is not perfect. Now, the more that we do this, so if we upped our total, let's say we rolled it 500 times instead of just the 268, these percentages should get closer to that theoretical probability. The last thing we're going to talk about today is independent and dependent events. So they're pretty much what they sound like. Dependent events are when the occurrence of one event affects how a second event can occur. So one thing happens, that outcome affects the second outcome. Independent is when the two events do not affect each other. So one event happens, the second event stays the same. So how do we figure out the probability of those? So for independent, the probability of A and B happening, if they're independent, is just the probability of A times the probability of B. For dependent, it's similar. It's the probability of A times the probability of B after A. So typically the difference shows up with this in the total is down 1 because we've taken something out. But you'll see what that looks like as we do some examples. So here's just a few of, let's determine if they're independent or dependent. So I first roll a die, then I spin a spinner. Those two things are not affected by each other at all, so those are independent. Number 6, I pick one flashcard, then I pick another from the same stack of 30 flashcards. Those are dependent because what I pick first time kind of affects what I pick the second time. 7, you select a coin at random from your pocket, you replace the coin and select it again. That's independent because I still have the same chance both times. 2 dice are rolled at the same time. That's also independent. Okay, so what you're looking at is, does the outcome of one affect the outcome of the second one, or are they completely independent of each other? Jumping ahead, let's look at finding the probability of these. So first we're going to determine if they're independent or dependent, then calculate the probability. A deck contains 10 cards numbered 1 through 10. If Andrew draws a card, replaces it, then Tyler draws a card, what is the probability that Andrew draws a 4 and Tyler draws a 7? So first thing, independent or dependent, the key word here is that they replace it. So the outcomes are not affected at all by the first event. So these are independent events. What would make it dependent is if they didn't replace the card after the first time. Okay, so now that we know it's independent, we're just going to find the probability of both and multiply them together. So the probability that he draws a 4 is 1 out of 10. The probability that he draws a 7 is still 1 out of 10 because we put that 4 back in. So I multiply those by each other. That's 1 out of 100, or 1%. 13, a jar contains 15 quarters and 5 nickels. If 2 coins are chosen at random, what is the probability of getting 2 quarters? Okay, now this would be a dependent event because we're not replacing them. So I'm taking out 1 coin and then I'm taking out another coin. So the total gets smaller the second time because I've already removed 1 coin. So these are dependent. So the probability is 2 quarters. So 15 out of the total, which would be 20 for the first time. But then if I remove 1 quarter, I'm left with 14 and my total goes down to 19, right? So again, first time it's 15 out of 20, second time it's only 14 out of 19. So I get 21 out of 38. And you can just type that into your calculator as is using division bar as your fraction bar. And 21 out of 38 is 55%. Okay, number 14, a coin is tossed and a single-sided die is rolled. Find the probability of landing on the tail side of the coin and rolling a 4 on the die. These two events do not affect each other at all, so these are independent. So we just look for each probability separately. So landing on tails is, we said, 1 out of 2, and rolling a 4 is just a 1 out of 6. So that would be 1 out of 12 if I multiply them. And then if I figure out what that percentage is, it's 0.083, so that would be 8.3%. So like I said at the beginning, while this information isn't, it's pretty straightforward, it is a lot. So make sure you take the time to actually practice this and before you go and do your assignment.